Welcome, everybody. We got ourselves a summary for 7.30C, and this should be the patch for TI10, which in and of itself is quite exciting, being that it is approaching. You know, it's in less than a month away. So I myself would be surprised if they change the game again. We got a lot of little tweaks to heroes, and pretty much every hero, and then little tweaks to items as well. So what I'm going to be going over for this summary is my 5 biggest winners and losers. Some notable heroes to keep an eye out for that I'm going to at least try or maybe see if other people are trying. I only have so much time in my day. And then also what I think to be like the 3 biggest changes of what we'll see now compared to before. Some of which you'll just read in the patch notes and some of which I think will kind of just be in the game. So let's go ahead and get started. And we'll do the 3 biggest changes first.
Banana slam jam.
So I think the biggest change in the entire patch is that stacked neutral creeps, gold and XP bounty reduced by 15%. So this includes. So what happens is if you stack the camp yourself, you'll now get 185% gold for the 2 camps and XP. So you're effectively reducing the amount of gold and XP you get when you farm a stack, like a single stack, by about 7%. Seems small, but it's especially the XP and gold. So the thing is, yes, it is the fact that you will still want to stack. It's strictly better to clear 2 camps than it is to clear 1 if the timing is right. But if you're a hero that purely relies on the stacks, like a Sven, Medusa, Luna, then this is going to hurt you a lot because at the end of the day, Dota's a very finely balanced game, and that little bit of less XP and gold can make a significant difference. And for supports, I'm really glad they left it unaffected for the stacker gold bonus. So what happens now is if you stack a camp as a support, the effective gold given to the team is 115% rather than 130%, but the XP is still 85%. So they made it so you're getting 15% less gold out of the 130, but then you're also only getting 85% instead of 100 for the XP. So definitely a huge change there, and I think it's going to buff a lot of heroes that farm fast, but they don't farm stacks, and we'll get to that later. The next change is going to be the pace of the game, and when I elaborate on the pace of the game, I mean exactly what we kind of got used to being the rhythm of the game. I feel like the rhythm of the game was immense amount of pressure in the early to mid game, taking towers and then playing for stacks. That's pretty much what it was every single game. So if we combine that with the fact that they nerfed all the ancient creeps for the Helm of the Dominator or Helm of the Overlord, and they also nerfed the buildup of Helm of the Dominator, and then they also nerfed all the heroes such as Beastmaster and Lycan that sped up the pace of the game, I think we're going to slow down a little bit. The game is probably going to be about the same for the first 8 to 10 minutes, but I think there's going to be a lot less emphasis on invading ancients. I think this is still going to happen, but I don't think it's the only strategy in the books, and I think we should be keeping an eye out for the fact that these items that sped up the game a lot are significantly less impactful than they were before. And it seems small, but this is such a fine line between these heroes being viable or broken, right? And if you also include items like Echo Saber that are super cheap, super impactful, which is our 3rd biggest change of the patch, specifically Echo Saber, it's just going to make it so these heroes' power spikes are just not quite as powerful. So the Echo Saber nerfs, especially the mana regen, certain heroes like Slark that built this item every game and have significant issues with Echo Saber are going to be absolutely crushed by this. But also just pretty much every offlaner was going Echo Saber because you could disassemble it into a BKB. And this change alone is going to be enough, I think, to slow down the pace of the game as well. So let's get into the winners and the losers of the patch. So we'll start with the losers. All the heroes we're so happy to see gone. And I don't even need to scroll down to a specific hero here because coming in at number 5, I have all the stack farmers. Some of them got directly nerfed, such as Sven. Some of them didn't get directly nerfed, but all of them are significantly impacted. And these are emphasis at the number 5 category is Gyro, Medusa, Templar Assassin, Magnus, and Luna. Those are the ones that definitely came to mind, but there's certainly other heroes that get affected by stacks, probably just a bit less than those heroes. Number 4 is Batrider. If you didn't watch high tier pubs, Batrider was pretty much first pick, first banned, spammed every single game. So what they effectively did was they nerfed his Firefly vision at nighttime. If you see this change combined with this change, they made him about the same during the day. Once he's max level, he's going to be actually better during the day. But at nighttime, he went from 1600 vision for scouting down to 1200. So it's a pretty significant change for a hero like this because he's all about initiating onto the opponent, all about getting the first jump, and losing a good portion of your vision is going to hurt him a lot. They also made it more difficult to refresh your sticky napalm stacks, and they also nerfed Firefly in the early levels, which is a farming tool, a laning tool. So the hero, I think so, the fourth biggest loser because he's still good, I think, but not first pick, first ban material. And I'm sorry if you're in 2K and this doesn't apply to you because nobody picks Batrider. Number 3 coming in hot is Keeper of the Light. With his third spell, he reduces his own cooldowns by 6 seconds. So the Illuminate cooldown effectively went from 5 seconds to 7. 3-second channel time. It effectively went from a 2-second downtime to a 4-second downtime, which what was happening was you would get slowed by the second spell, and you'd get blasted twice during one slow. So that's not going to happen anymore. And also, they made it so that the damage went from 525 to 500 at max level, which previously, if you had 3 null talismans, would one-shot creep waves. Like, one-shot the melee creeps of creep waves. So this hero just accelerated his own farm, like, ridiculously with just 3 null talismans in the mid lane. We were seeing mid-coddle. You know, that's when it's a problem. So now he can no longer do that. Big nerf there. It's only 25 damage, but when it's, like, critical thresholds like that, very important. Travel speed also makes it much easier to dodge. There are so many times that I'm in lane trying to dodge a Coddle Blast, and I barely don't dodge it, and now you're going to dodge it. So Coddle, also a slight nerf here, but I think the hero will still get picked, but I don't think he's like first ban, first pick material, utterly broken, obnoxious. Might just not be a mid laner anymore, because the hero still seems fine as a support. Coming in at number 2, we have 2 heroes. You know, we don't have to necessarily have 5 heroes for 5 biggest winners and losers, and we'll put the 2 broken carries of the previous patch as the number 2. We got Clinks with an assortment of nerfs. I'm not even going to read them off, but you can look at them. His ult got nerfed, his Burning Barrage got nerfed, and all of his little things got nerfed too. So, hero, I think, is pretty dead. You know, just take it in for a second. The hero lived for about a week. Now he's dead again. Also tied at number 2 is Sven. As we find Sven here, slower base attack time, weaker laning stage because you did use your Stormhammer to secure CS super early, and then they also nerfed his late game. So Sven and Clinks, probably not going to be seeing nearly as much of these heroes, if at all, going into TI10. And coming in at number 1 is Omni Knight. So we can, I'm going to put my hand over the screen. I don't even see Degen Aura. I don't even see Guardian Angel. I don't see the talents. I see Heavenly Grace can be dispelled. Literally dead hero. Don't pick Omni Knight. Dead hero. Dead in the water. Literally dog shit. That's it. Now, back to the winners of the patch. The heroes that we can be excited about. Coming in at number 5, I have heroes that received pretty small changes, but I think with all the other... most heroes didn't get buffed. Okay, let's actually start this off. The 5 winners, none of these heroes really got buffed. Very few heroes in the game got buffs, and if they did get buffs, it was like very slight. It was like base stats, maybe like a little bit of something here and there. But I think a lot of these heroes that I put on here are heroes that got slight buffs, but are also bad partially because of what was good before. So coming in number 5, we have Naga Siren, who I think is one of those rapid farmers who doesn't farm stacks. And also all the heroes that farm stacks clear illusions. So I think Naga, with this level 20 talent, I want to try it out myself as well. Combined with the buff on the level 25 talent, she might actually have a pretty crazy late game. So I want to try her out. And also Ember Spirit, a hero whose laning stage has been traditionally fragile, and they buffed it a little bit, and then they also buffed his scalability as a hero that isn't really known for his stat gain. And I think Ember doesn't really like to farm stacks either. It's like he can, but I think these like low cooldown, up-tempo heroes are stuff we can look out for going into this patch. Which comes into mind for carries, heroes that were pretty much dead because of the stack meta. We got Lifestealer, not dead. I thought the hero was actually pretty decent, but he actually got a slight buff. But he never farmed stacks, and I thought he was on the verge of already being pretty good. So I think Lifestealer is going to be in contention for one of the top tier carries of the patch with all the nerfs to stacks. And then also Phantom Assassin, who got her laning stage buffed and also her blur back buffed up. They did probably do this because of the MKB buff. But these are heroes that early game, it just felt like they fell behind in farm compared to these stack farmers. And even though PA buys a Battle Fury and eventually farm stacks, it felt like if you play this hero, you were losing the game already by like 12 minutes, 13 minutes in. And like even though you got your Battle Fury, it was already too late. So those two heroes fall in that category. Coming in number 3, I'm going to give you guys a support, is Rubik. I actually think Rubik's base stat buffs here are insanely relevant to his laning stage, one of the weakest portions of his lane or of his game, and pretty much his entire contribution to the lane was to spam Fate Bolt. So now you're getting an extra 30 mana per second. Very relevant. That's going to save you money on mangoes and clarities. Probably be able to get you to your mana boots, which means you're effectively saving even more money because you can use more Fade Bolts. But then they also buffed the attack damage reduction and the damage reduction per bounce. So everything about Fade Bolt spam in lane is just way better. And I think this hero, you know, it's TI season. Why not buff Rubik into potentially broken categories? This sews up so many of his weaknesses because his worst part of his game is 100% his laning phase. Just in mind with the heroes that are always at TI, I'll also put Earthshaker in here. You know, got to make sure we buff Earthshaker right before TI. I also think Earthshaker will be pretty solid. Coming in at number 2, with all these hard farming stack heroes that you had to invade super early, the pace of the game with the summons going to be slowed down a little bit. Hero that I think was kind of sleeper OP, but was just bad against the zoo meta and didn't really want to run into the opponent jungle super early on in the game. That's Slardar, baby. I'm pretty sure Slardar is going to be absolutely bonkers. I think Slardar is so strong. And what happens is when you get the shard, plus this new level 20 talent that they added last patch and now have buffed, you one-shot creep waves, my friends. Your Slytherin Crush one-shots creep waves with the shard. Since when has this hero ever one-shotted creep waves? So if we're looking at this level 20 talent combined with all these other heroes getting nerfed, I'm pretty sure Slardar is going to be up and up and up on the priority scale. So keep an eye out for that. And then my biggest winner, Mason viewers rejoice as he may not actually drop down to 7k MMR, is Weaver. With all these other heroes that farm stacks, similar idea to Naga as well as Lifestealer. They don't farm stacks, but they farm pretty decently fast. And Weaver is just not going to fall behind anymore, I think. He doesn't get nerfed by any of these items that got changed. He doesn't really buy Sanjin Yasha very often anymore. He doesn't buy Echo Saber, obviously. And he got his Sakuchi restored back to 60 mana, which is incredibly important because he spams the shit out of that spell. So you don't really have to go any mana regen because they gave him base mana regen, maybe just a few clarities here and there. You can get that early Maelstrom. And I really think Weaver is going to be top priority, like in competitive. He's going to be like that 7th, 8th pick. You know, he's not a first-round hero, I don't think. But in your pubs, you can like 3rd, 4th him. And I think he'll be really strong. Also coupled with the fact that Bloodseeker got nerfs. Weaver was really bad against Bloodseeker. Notable heroes to wrap up my summary of the patch that I want to try, but also heroes that I think are worth mentioning. For nerfs, first is Lina. With the nerf of her stun to 13 seconds on Lina, her Fiery Soul duration's 12. Lina support's pretty much dead, and Lina mid pretty much has to go Dragon Slave now, so hurts a lot of her matchups. Worthy of noting here. And also just Lycan Beastmaster receiving this slight nerf. Heroes I do want to try that are worth noting are Abaddon with the 8-second borrowed time cooldown on his level 20. I think he could be a legit core with all the stack heroes getting nerfed. And now if you go Octarine core, you have a 24-second cooldown, 9-second ultimate Octarine core Ags. So his late game seems absolutely bonkers to me. And I just think that I'm not going to... His late game seems absolutely bonkers to me. Just ended there. Okay. The next hero I want to try is Drow. They gave her... Next hero I want to try is Drow. I felt like last patch she was pretty much just a shitty Clinks. And now they apply bonus damage component of Frost Arrows. And the Frost Arrows are considered base damage. So the 160% on your multi-shot multiplies the 20 damage. So your multi-shot now does 32 more damage per volley, which helps farming, helps damage. Seems pretty significant to me, so I want to try her out. Next up is CK. We did some math, and if you count the buff to this as well as the buff last patch, if you look at the 7.30 notes there to the damage, he got 5% damage for free from the last 2 patches. And he also has an extra bit of damage from Reality Rift. So I want to try him as carry or off lane. Another hero that didn't farm any stacks, kind of suffered in that meta. So I think we might see a lot of him as an off laner at TI in kill lanes. It's kind of what I'm looking at there. But I do want to try him myself. And then the hero that's like kind of a meme, but I do want to try out just because he keeps getting buffed is Dazzle. I think he could be the new Coddle. You know, this is like a total shot in the dark. I'm not confident at all when I say this, but I want to try like triple null talisman boots of travel on Dazzle, similar to Coddle. Like, I want to try bots, Witchblade, BKB. You just utilize the cooldown, you do a lot of damage, you run around the map pushing waves, and eventually you turn into like a utility hero in the late game. That's what I want to try. See if it works out, but I'm not. Don't take my word on this one. You can maybe try it too, though. So yeah, that's my summary for 7.30C. The patch for TI most likely. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If I see any amazing things that people are coming up with that I copied and stole for YouTube content, I'll make sure I let you guys in on the deets. So thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, all that BS.